What's up guys, my name is Lord Savine and welcome to the 11th episode of my How To Terraria tutorial series. In this episode I'll be covering the Floating Islands biome and show you several different methods of finding them. Please keep in mind that this guide was made right after the 1.1.1 update, so some of the specifics could change with future updates. Even though they were introduced when Terraria first came out, the floating islands can be difficult for new players to find because, depending on the world you spawn on, they may not be immediately apparent. True to their name, the floating islands randomly spawn at a height that varies based on world height. Approximately 100 to 475 feet for small worlds, 500 to 700 for medium, and 500 to 1000 for large. The size of the world also affects the total number of floating islands spawned, 3 for small, 5 for medium, and 6 for large. So what's the big deal with these islands? Well, for one, they are the only source of some very useful accessories and weapons in the game. These include the Lucky Horseshoe, which negates falling damage, the Shiny Red Balloon, which doubles your jump height, and the weapon Star Fury, which combines the use of melee and magic damage. Floating islands can also have a high concentration of mid-tier ores like gold and silver underneath the house. This is probably the easiest way to find the islands, but it requires you to be able to craft meteor shots and have a firearm. Any firearm will work, however I found that using a rapid-fire gun made the process a lot easier. Notice how meteor shots bounce back at you once they hit something. Simply run along the world and fire up at a slight angle every few steps. If a floating island is above you, the shot will bounce back towards you. This method is actually really simple. Craft a depth meter and build a way to get up to the spawn height of the floating islands. Approximately 375 for small worlds, 600 for medium, and 700 for large. After that, begin laying a one-block bridge towards one side of the map. Eventually you'll manage to find an island along the way. This method has some upsides and downsides, however. The upsides are that it's pretty easy to do, creates a fairly quick way to get around the world once you find the Pegasus shoes, and makes for a really efficient way of collecting stars. However, the downsides are that it's fairly time-consuming to lay all the bridge. Sky bridges can sometimes mess up the spawning of meteorites that land on them. This will result in you getting substantially less meteorite ore than if they landed on the surface of your world. And floating island height is the perfect spot to spawn Wyverns once you enter hard mode. This method requires the least amount of work to find the floating islands. Simply gather the required reagents for several gravity potions and use their flight ability to find the islands. Using movement speed increasing items will help you cover ground more quickly. It may take a bit of skill to land on the island without dying, or at least it did when I first tried it. All things considered, I've used method 1 the most, however all 3 are completely viable. In the end it all depends on how far you progress in the game and how much time you want to spend. And that should about do it for this episode. If this video helped you out, I'd appreciate it if you gave it a thumb, left me a comment, and subscribe for future content. Also be sure to check out my other Terraria videos on my channel. Good luck and thanks for watching.